Hi, everybody. Thank you for spending Saturday with me. I get to spend hopefully a couple of days a week with you, and now Saturday too, so that's a lot of fun. On behalf of everybody at WMAL, including Chris Plant, who's probably living some luxurious Saturday today, just want to say we love you guys and we're grateful to you because if you've been enjoying the last few weeks, you have yourself to thank. There are a lot of great patriots in this room. The fact that you're here, focused on this on a Saturday, is a clear sign of the kind of person you are, that you love your community and you want to keep pushing forward to make it better. So thank you. I want to start with that. Thank you. I'm a big believer in school choice. I send my daughter to Catholic school. She's doing great. She's doing wonderfully. She's a basketball player. She's a swimmer. She's in 5th grade, 10 years old. She is whip smart. She reads like crazy. She bumps into walls while holding books. She gets in trouble for reading too much. Every bathroom in my house has stacks of books all over the place. So we have a good problem on our hands. And we get the scores back occasionally for how she's doing against other students nationwide, right? Every parent, you look at it, you get all proud. You're like, oh, that's great. She's outperforming this number of students. And this week I had a bit of a reality check, though, because yes, she does perform very well. But that reality check came in the form of that nation's report card. And I go, well, no wonder she's doing so well compared against all of her students, all the other students across the nation, because so many kids are doing so poorly. And that's not a good place to be. That national report card is atrocious. It is atrocious to think that 1/3, a full 33% of all 8th graders in the United States are functionally illiterate. Meaning when they read something to the extent that they can't even process what they're reading. They can't identify the main concepts. They can't identify the arguments. They can't identify why that piece of reading has value to them to the extent that they can put the words together at all. That's 33% of 8th graders. By now, if you're the kind of person who's obsessed with getting education right, and you all are, you also know that if you can't read by 3rd grade, your future is going to be tight. Poverty is all but guaranteed for someone who is illiterate by the 3rd grade. So as a country, we have a big task ahead of us that really does go back to the basics, doesn't it? Just focus on teaching, the teaching component. And so this is really important. And the school choice movement is fighting a very corrupt protection racket that is super mediocre at best and downright demonic at worst. What we've seen in our nation's schools, in particular in school districts that are right here in our area, but in places like California, high concentrations of Democrat leadership, is an attempt to use those schools not as a vehicle for learning, but as a vehicle for manipulation, to get in between the parent and the child, to deceive the family about what's happening inside those schools, to challenge the core tenets of your reality itself as a child. That's a real threat. That's a real threat to all of us. Our entire country is destabilized if our kids can't even process the difference between a boy and a girl. It's a big deal. And so the reason we fight for school choice is because we believe that every child has a right to learn. A right to learn. You know, there's the right to life, a lot of success on that push. The right to work, a lot of success on that push. Let me add one more for you. The right to learn. These children deserve a right to learn. They shouldn't be put in indoctrination camps. They should have the ability to break out of those. And unfortunately, especially if you're not well off, if you're poor, you are often tied into an environment where you can't escape it. Because chances are your state, majority of states don't have the ability to choose a school for your child. And so if your economic means are low, then you're kind of locked into this awful pattern, aren't you? Low economic means, low quality school, forced attendance, no literacy by 3rd grade, the cycle of poverty continues. It just keeps going. But there's hope. There's hope. And I mentioned to you a moment ago, that if you felt some joy over the last few weeks, you should thank yourself. And one of the big reasons for that is not merely that President Trump is back in the Oval Office, but that he is working harder than ever on every single issue on which he was elected, including the ones that he didn't talk about at high volume. I remember during the campaign, I was receiving phone calls from people who said, why isn't Trump talking about school choice more? People asked me this during the campaign. Now, it's not that President Trump hadn't talked about school choice. He had. But it's always a question of emphasis in a political campaign. He was talking about our out-of-control border, our out-of-control economy. And if you go back and you look at President Trump's actual campaign website and the videos he put together and the platforms, school choice was in there, that's for sure. But it was down here in terms of emphasis. So I get lots of questions to this effect. Now, what are we coming out on? 2 weeks tomorrow? Or Monday? Yeah. 2 weeks of President Trump Monday? Yeah, school choice is right at the top of the list. I gotta say, it's not typical that you want to sit around and read government releases. It is one of the most boring things you could possibly do, usually. But I have to tell you, if you have not spent any time on the new whitehouse.gov, please go there, click into the executive action section, grab your favorite beverage, and enjoy. I'm telling you, these things are works of art. There's nothing slapdash about these executive orders and actions. These are considered, they're deliberative, they're effective. Let me tell you about the school choice one. This is the one we got this week. Headlined, Expanding Educational Freedom and Opportunity for Families. This is a priority. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and to improve the education, well-being, and future success of America's most prized resource for young citizens, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, purpose. Parents want and deserve the best education for their children, but too many children do not thrive in their assigned government-run K-12 school. According to this year's National Assessment of Educational Progress, 70% of 8th graders were below proficient in reading, and 72% were below proficient in math. Moreover, geographically based school assignments exacerbate the cost of housing in districts with preferred schools, straining the finances of millions of American families, sacrificing for their children's future. I pause there because I think that's a critical component. This is what I was talking about a moment ago, the cycle of poverty. If you have school choice, then you can live somewhere you can afford and send your kid to a school that'll actually teach them. That's what you want. And right now, that protection racket that I mentioned not only protects corrupt schools and institutions, it also protects high-value property arrangements. In other words, rich neighborhoods can lock in their property values and keep seeing them go up because they get to guard the only good institutions to themselves. This is not a good system. This is not a good system, and we live in an environment where housing costs are skyrocketing. People are struggling, forget purchasing a home, to find rent to be able to live in the community they want to live into. So if the left was actually serious about addressing housing costs, they'd be all over school choice, because school choice will open up your ability to both have a reasonable value to live and also a means to get your child into good schools. So this is critical. This is critical. I'm glad that that was included, again, in another piece of art, this school choice thing. So without reading the rest of it, let me just tell you what it does. It orders all of the relevant secretaries in the federal government to begin the process of 30, 60, 90 day, depending on the agency, assessment of how they can stop federal tax dollars. They can get federal tax dollars, rather, to go to school choice, to give grants across the country on the basis of access to school choice options, using the power of your tax dollar, what comes out of your paycheck to the federal government every 2 weeks. That's the President of the United States announcing that he's going to use that immense power to compel these states to start giving options to kids. That's a big deal. Another one, another big executive order this week. President Trump has forbidden our schools who take federal tax dollars from teaching and advancing bigotry on the basis of race and forbidding and advancing body negativity, that is, that you were born in the wrong body, that there's something wrong with your body. That is so big. That's a big deal. That's a lot of money. I just checked the other day. I was having some conversations in here about the specific numbers. The Fairfax County, just to give you an example, I checked this past week. I believe it's $50 million a year is federal funding to Fairfax County. $50 million. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And so Fairfax County, Loudoun County, Montgomery County, we start going, right, down the list. They're on notice now. No matter how crazy and deranged their school boards are, which they are. Now there's a federal funding threat looming over them. And so then the question becomes, how serious is the Trump administration about seeing this through? I think they're pretty serious. I mean, I think they're like Tom Holland arresting people in the middle of the night serious about seeing this through. And what will this look like in the weeks and months ahead? I've said on the air, and I'm probably going to repeat it a couple times just to juice it. I hope it happens. I think Donald Trump should go to a school board meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh my God, Arlington, they would literally scream.
We have something for him to talk about.
And sometimes the school boards, they try and get clever. They're like, oh, you can't speak here. You're not actually a resident. Well, do what Matt Walsh did in Loudoun County. Rent a place for a night. I think Trump can manage it. But at any rate, I think that'd be great. And I'm just over the moon about the effort that he's undertaken already to use what's at his disposal, which is the immense power of the United States federal government to begin forcing some positive change. And he is serious. That's good, don't you think? He's learned some lessons from the first round.
Yeah.
And I'll say this, it's uncomfortable to hack to say it, but I do feel like it. 4 years in the wilderness only sharpened him into a better weapon. So
That's right.
he learned a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
That first 4 years, you learn a ton. And then all of a sudden, he's ejected from Washington. So they finally get him out of here. And you're like, all right, good, we're done with him. And not only when I say they said that they're done with him, I mean, Republicans thought that too. There were Republicans who were looking to put him in the rearview mirror. He's done forever. Well, he's not done forever. He's a survivor, and he fought his way back, big time. And so Trump learned a couple things. One was, who's actually down for the mission? Who's fighting for the country? Who's fighting for their own advancement? Who's fighting for the status quo? He learned a lot about who was on his side during that time. And also, they had a chance to regroup, to focus, to find all of the talented people that they're now putting into all of these important positions and are running out the gate at 1,000 miles an hour. It's been big. So one thing I'm constantly reminded of is, God's timing is not my timing. But it is a lot better. It is a lot better. And so I'm encouraged at the national level. At the state level in Virginia, I know we always want to talk about the guys who are on our side, the Republicans. Push harder, please do it. And we offer them a lot of encouragement. Also, there's another part of me that thinks, where you been? Why haven't you pushed harder? I like that Governor Youngkin is pushing forward these vouchers. This is basically an ability to give low-income Virginians choices. That's what I was just talking about. I think that's really great. It shouldn't just be low income. It should be everybody. Everybody should have a choice where they send their kids to school. And right now, he's got a Democrat-run legislature that's not going to give him anything he wants anyway. They hate everything about this. So shoot the moon. Ask for the biggest possible thing. Ask for universal school choice right now and let them say no to your face, because they're going to say no to the small thing. You may as well ask for the big thing. That's where I am. And I want to see that fight. Also, Governor Youngkin, he's been great in so many ways. Boy, the whole reason he's there is because of the parents in this state. The whole reason. But it's funny because Lieutenant Governor Sears, to her credit, she's been a lot better on school choice for a lot longer than Governor Youngkin, and at a lot higher volume. And if you want to see this thing advance in the state, she run for governor, and things are looking close right now. These surveys keep coming out. She's between 1 and 4 points back against the crazy Democrat that it looks like she's running against. So I would say one of the big pushes is to keep pushing for her because she's such a believer in school choice. And the two of them, let's be honest, it's kind of a funny thing. Youngkin was earlier to Trump and later to school choice. And, with some serious, eventually got to Trump, but has been long on school choice, which is good. But, that's all right. We don't agree on everything all the time at the same moment, but we're all paddling in the right direction. And I think that's what's key. And it's also embarrassing that D.C. and Maryland somehow are ahead of us on school choice. How did that happen? Like Virginia, the whole reason, if you come to the D.C. area and you make a decision on where to live, usually it was like, well, Virginia's got better taxes and it protects your Second Amendment rights better, so go there. Yeah, what about school choice? That's embarrassing. Why would we be behind D.C. and Maryland? Pathetic. Those are socialist sticks. So, anyway, let me just close and then take any questions you might have for me by saying that I am as encouraged as ever by what I'm seeing. I think the school choice movement is in such a good position to achieve great things for children going forward. I think that we all have to be as explicitly honest as we can about the stakes. I think we do have to call out the people who are encouraging children to lie to their parents. And we've got to get in their faces. We've got to keep doing what we're doing. So many of you are speaking at school board meetings doing that very thing. God bless you for that. I think we do need to demand that the basics be taken care of and that we get rid of every propagandist who's anywhere near our children and is being paid ungodly sums of our money to do that. Talk about such a violation. And just pray. That's the core point, the one I probably should have started with at the top and I'll finish with now. Just pray to the Lord above to keep giving us the wisdom and the strength and the courage to use the blessings that he has bestowed upon us. That's our obligation. Whatever your lot in life, whatever hand you've been dealt, whatever blessings you have, it's a betrayal of the Almighty not to use those for his glorification. And in doing that, we got to take care of our kids. That's it. He entrusted this child to you. So what are you doing for that kid? And I can't be more encouraged. I think we're headed in the right direction. So thank you for having a chance to be with me today.